Today we have Becca Innes from Come Together for Calm, who holds our charity seat. Take it away, Becca.
Thank you, Jo. So, as most of you know, I am a fundraiser for the charity CAM, which stands for Campaign Against Living Miserably. I started doing this in 2021, and today I thought rather than tell you why I decided to become a fundraiser and all the crazy things I've been doing, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the charity itself and what they actually do. So where the money that I raise actually goes, which I think is quite helpful because most charities are not very open about that these days. So the big thing with CAM is they always say they're uniting the UK against suicide. I have plenty t-shirts that say that on the back of it. And they say they're taking a stand against suicide, but that doesn't just mean suicide. It means taking a stand against feeling hopeless, standing up to stereotypes, standing together to show that life is worth living no matter how bad things can get. And it's changed a little bit. So when Calm was founded in 2006, it actually was just predominantly for male suicide. But recently it changed and they now help everyone that needs it. So I find this quite shocking that there are at least 200,000 suicide attempts every year, which would fill the O2 Arena 10 times. I've been in there. It's huge. And their research also shows that at least 1 in 15 of us will attempt suicide at some point in our lifetime, which essentially means that there could be someone in this room because there's almost 15 of us. That's 125 people per week, which equates to 6,500 people every single year. And 75% of those people are male. However, it's young women that are having the highest rise in suicide rates. And they now reckon that 1 in 5 people will have suicidal thoughts at one time in their lives. But they are here to help. And that's why I decided that I wanted to fundraise for CAM, because for those that don't know, I lost my cousin to suicide in 2020. And I looked at a lot of charities, and because CAM focused on male suicide and because of some of the things that I'll come to in a second, it was the one that I felt most aligned with, and I haven't changed. I did look at others just to check there was nothing else out there. I even looked at setting up my own charity at one point before I realised that that would be utterly crazy. So what do they do? The main thing you'll hear about is their helpline, and they have a web chat now as well, which is open from 5 p.m. until midnight, 365 days a year. And it's not only open to people that are struggling themselves, it's also open to those of us that are maybe worried about a friend or family member. It's anonymous, it's confidential, it's non-judgmental. And unlike a lot of other helplines, it's actually staffed entirely by paid professionals and not volunteers, which means that they can actually offer advice and help, refer you to places, and do a little bit more than some other services, which essentially are just listening services. And that's why you'll see places like Samaritans often say that they refer people struggling with suicidal thoughts to charities like CAM, because they actually have the resources to help just that little bit more. So how many calls are actually answered? In 2022, 161,798 calls and chats were answered by CAM. That's over 3 million minutes spent helping people, which equates to answering a call pretty much every minute, which is a lot of people that are utilising the service. And that obviously costs money. But it's not just the helpline. They also have a lot of guides and digital resources that are free for everyone. So you can go onto their website and get help on a range of issues. So it could be anything from anger, anxiety, eating disorders, stress, problems in relationships. And these guides give you practical information that can help people to understand your challenges and can give you the advice that you might need to to move forward. Um, so you might have seen some of Cam's campaigns over the last few years. A few years back, they shared a lot of last photos of people before they took their own lives. And I went through and looked at a lot of those, and it's quite sad how many of them looked happy. You wouldn't have known. They've also had other campaigns on the invisible opponent, because a lot of the time you can't see what's bothering people. And they just want to raise awareness, and try and drive towards change. So in 2018, the pressure from CAM was part of the reason why the First Minister for Suicide Prevention was appointed in the UK, which is a massive step because suicide isn't spoken enough, and I feel like government kind of ignored a lot of the problems. So it's not just the online stuff. They offer opportunities for people to get together, to share interests, to do things that they love, to try and help support their mental health, but it also raises awareness because people see what they're doing. So they've got, whether you're into football, whether you're into art, there might be a club out there that you can go and join. You can talk to people that want to help you. You can connect with people that might feel the same way that you do, and then you don't feel quite as alone. So obviously, because it is a charity and because all these things cost money, I thought I would go through just what it costs. So you've heard me before say that £8 could answer one potentially life-saving call. That's kind of one of the things that I say all the time. If people ask me how much they should donate, that is always what I say. £8 could save someone's life. £24 could provide support materials for families that are bereaved by suicide. And as someone that's lost a family member to suicide, that is a massive thing because it is a very difficult situation to navigate. £51 could fund the fees for 100 life-saving chats with the CAM helpline staff on WhatsApp. Now that's new. That didn't exist when I signed up to be a fundraiser. And I think that's a really important option because some people don't like talking on the phone. I'm one of them. So for them, it's a lot easier to have that option where they can just send off a message and chat to someone without having to actually physically explain and say out loud what they're feeling. And £154 could help provide specialist training for a helpline worker. And that means that they will continue to be able to offer the support from professionals rather than having to rely on volunteers. And volunteers do have their place, but they are limited in what they can do. So I hope that explains a little bit more about the charity, about where the money goes, and about why I chose it. And all that leaves me to say is, how many of you could spare £8 a day to potentially save someone's life?